What's up, guys? Universal Mastery. So what I do on my channel is I break down the occult principles to a very practical level so that you can use them in your day-to-day life and get real, actual results. So what we're going to be talking about in today's video was a request from one of my viewers. And basically what I'm going to go into is certain spirits that I've worked with, and in result of working with those specific spirits, how it ended up in me losing certain jobs and then gaining other jobs. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my experience with how sometimes when you work with a spirit, you may lose a job, and then how sometimes when you're working with that same spirit or a different spirit, you may gain a new job. Okay, so if you want to know more about what I'm talking about here and kind of hear a little bit of my experience, then stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing that I want to say is definitely go and check out the Patreon. The Patreon is going to be located at the very top of the description. And what you're going to gain access to on the Patreon if you become a tier 2 member or up is you're going to gain access to an exclusive YouTube video like one of these, very important and powerful foundational videos that are already on there, but you're going to gain access to an exclusive video weekly that will not be on my YouTube channel. So in order to gain access to those exclusive videos, it costs $9.95 a month, which literally comes out to less than $1 a day. And you're also going to gain access to be able to talk to me whenever you want about the occult. So once again, the link for the Patreon is going to be at the very top of the description. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the video. So this was a very great video recommendation. Okay. Excuse me, I had to get my bang. I literally just woke up, like just got out of bed, went right to the camera. I love doing that. So this is the thing. It's not, okay, there is no set in stone, oh, if you work with this spirit, you're gonna lose a job, okay? There is no set in stone, oh, if you work with this spirit, you're gonna gain a job. Okay, it all depends on you. It all depends on the path that you're on, and it all depends on what is going to, in the end, be best for your own self-development, and all around, in all aspects. So let me give you an example, and then I'll go into my experience. So let's say that you have this specific job, and you've worked really hard to maintain this job. And you've built great relationships in the job, you actually enjoy it, you have fun and all those things. And once again, you worked really hard to get this job. But let's say that you have reached a cap at that job. You have reached a plateau, meaning that you are feeling very comfortable, and you have been feeling comfortable for about a year now, okay? At first when you had the job, it was tough because you had to learn all these new tools, all these new skills, how to be successful at that job. But now you feel like you got it, you're comfortable, you have good relationships, the customers, all things in that nature. Okay, you know what you're doing, you're comfortable now. There is a high chance when you start diving into deep spiritual work that, and when I say deep spiritual work, I'm specifically talking about some of the dark gods. Okay, when you start diving into black magic specifically, what you're doing is you're dealing with forces of pure chaos, forces of pure destruction. Now that's one aspect of them. Okay, they're also pure forces of healing. They're also pure sources of creation, pure sources of order. But at the same end of the spectrum, you're also going to get the aspect of pure chaos and destruction, because typically when you first begin working with these spirits, that's the side of themselves that they're going to show to you, because they need to usually shake people up, and they need to shake up your energy, your own energy. They need to shake up your own perspective, your own way of viewing the world, so that they can recreate you into the person that you say that you want to become. Okay, in order to build something new, what is in order to build something new, what is already there needs to be destroyed so it can be rebuilt. And these are just universal principles that happen when you work with some of the most ancient spirits that are attributed directly to black magic. That's why I like the left hand path. That's why I like black magic. I also like the right hand path. I like angels and things in that nature, but I specifically work with the dark spirits, mainly because they are some of the most ancient and misunderstood. And there's a reason why there's a bad there's a reason why they have a bad name. Meaning there's a reason why there's a bad light on them. Why people say, oh no, that's the devil, it can take your soul. There's a reason for that. And it's a filter, okay? These spirits are aware that there's a bad rap around their name, but they don't care. They actually intentfully have chosen that because they're not meant to be worked with by everybody. You have to have a certain type of mindset, a certain type of strength to even start or want to work with one of them. And that's why I love it, and I have that, and I'm sure a lot of you watching have that as well. So once again, what I was getting at was, you have that job, you're comfortable, you start working with these really ancient spirits, these really ancient deities, and let's say you're asking for change, which is the reason why you're going to want to work with them. You're not going to want to go to them for petty things, but you guys should know that for now. You guys should know that by now. And they will shake your life up. Okay, they will do what needs to happen in order to create you to be the best you that you can be. And another universal principle of transformation is the idea and the understanding of sacrifice. Okay, and basically the reason why you have to understand that is because to the conscious mind, we may say, oh, I want this job is great for me, I love it, I've been here, I just got comfortable with everything's going great, I worked so hard to get here, and it's just, this is perfect, this is my destiny, I love this is exactly what I've always wanted. That's to our conscious mind, but to our subconscious, to our unconscious, there may very well be a different job or a different path or a different experience that you need to move into. To fully round yourself, to fully develop yourself in areas that you didn't even know that you needed to be developed. And it may rip you away from that job and then place you in a different situation or circumstance or experience than that one job that you were holding on to. Okay, and it's doing it not just because you like the job, it's doing it because it's doing it because that's what you need to fully be your best self. That's what you need to work on. That's what you need to change with. Remember, change is uncomfortable. Pain is power. Okay, pain is a part of the process. That's why the word sacrifice, you have to get that in your mind when you start diving into these deep spiritual works, because it will be some form of a sacrifice. That is one way of translating that. Okay, it's like you're sacrificing that job that you like so much that you worked hard to get, but you also pretty much mastered, and you hit that plateau level, you hit that cap level, and it's sacrificing that and saying, I'm willing to really become my most powerful self. Place me in a situation that is going to fully strengthen who I am and who I am becoming, regardless, if I lose that sense of satisfaction because of it, if I lose that sense of pleasure because of it, because I like that job, it's okay. Take me out of my comfort zone. I'm willing to do what I have to do to become what I am to become. And that is what a true sacrifice is, and that's where power is. And as you pursue that path consistently, and as you make those sacrifices, as you adapt to those transformations, then you will eventually reach a point where you have pure satisfaction, real happiness. You will have seen from all the challenges and the battles that you've been through, right? And when I say battles, I mean mostly within yourself, within your own mindset. You will eventually reach a place where you are fully satisfied, where you never, probably a state of mind that you've never experienced before. But that only happens when you continue down that road of trying to become your best self, and in a disciplined manner, working with ancient deities, ancient spirits, working with your own higher self, trying to fully understand what this process of evolution truly is. Okay, so my experience. Let me go into my experience. I don't want to make it too long, okay? To give you guys a little bit of a context, I have worked many jobs. Before I even started doing deep spiritual work, I've already worked a lot of jobs. Now, one of the main reasons why is because I've always worked jobs for the experience. Even during times when I wouldn't have told you that, like, it wasn't necessarily the most conscious decision for me. It was like a intuitive me just I would hit certain points of certain jobs where I just was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna go look for a different job. And I would look for a different job, and I would leave that one and go do a different one. And looking back and analyzing myself and understanding why I did those things, I was truly looking for a major change. Okay, I was looking for experience. I was looking to become my best self, and I needed to experience what different jobs were like. So I've worked jobs all the way from Jersey Mike's to being a manager at a car dealership. At a young age, I was a lot manager. I was a photography manager. What else did I do? Sales consultant at the at a gym. What was the gym's name? I think it was called. I'm forgetting the name. I think it was called One Fitness or something like that. I was a sales consultant there for a little bit of time. I've been the front desk at the gym before, checking people in. I've been a busboy. I've been a dishwasher. I've been a cook. What else? I worked for this one guy's photography company where we would go and do like venues. I would help him shoot venues, and I would also set up like a photo booth. I've done that. What else have I done? I worked as a personal trainer. Now I'm going into more recent times. So long story short, I've had a lot of jobs. I've got a lot of experience, okay, working different jobs. And I've seen for every job, I saw what I was capable of. Every single job I did, I was really good at what I did. I grew at what I did if I put my mind to it. So that gave me a sense of, okay, I know I can be successful doing anything. I literally can. I can do like whatever I choose to put my energy into. I end up becoming successful. I end up getting recognized. I end up getting promoted. I end up moving fast in the system. So that's why I have my own business now, is because after getting all of that experience and adding it up and realizing that there's a pattern that's going on. Every time I do something, I put energy into it. I'm really good at what I do. So why not do something for myself? Why not become my own boss? And that's why I have my YouTube channel. But going into the more recent jobs that I had, I ended up moving. I lived in Maryland for a large portion of my life, and then I ended up moving to Florida. I'm in Florida right now, and I moved to Miami for a year, and I was living in Miami, and I got a job down there. I went to personal training school in Orlando, then I moved to Miami with the mindset I'm going to get a job at Equinox, and I got the job at Equinox, and I was there for half a year. And there's a whole story behind that as well. But that's, at the beginning of that year, that was the year when I initiated myself into the clip-off. And so you could say that's when I started doing some deep spiritual workings at the beginning of that year. Very deep spiritual workings, okay? And I got a job at Equinox, and I had worked very hard and long to get that job at Equinox. And I did. And I put my mind to it. I did magic to influence it. I did tons of things, and I got the job. I was doing great. I mean, I had clients right off the bat, and both of my clients were I mean, I don't want to say like they were the happiest human beings on earth, but they were both very financially free, to say the least. These guys were wealthy. I remember one of my clients was a Jewish guy. And it was fascinating because I actually learned a lot about myself from my clients, because what it truly was showing me a reflection of what was also inside of me. and one of my clients was Jewish, and I remember that he forgot his clothes, his training clothes, one day when we were supposed to train, and I was training this guy specifically 2 times a week, and he just went inside the Equinox, pretty much like the Equinox gift shop, and just bought a whole dresser load of clothes, and those clothes in there are not cheap. And I remember, and he would always, it was funny because he would always come in on those, like, you know, those things you stand on with your 2 feet and then you like lean forward and it moves. He would always come in on one of those and it had lights on it. It was the funniest thing. But this guy was well off, very well off. He must have been like a CEO of a certain type of big corporation or something in that nature. But I would train him. And then, you know, and then the other guy that I would train, I would see him 3 days a week, and he was a president of his company, all things in that nature. So things were going great. Like for myself, I was a new trainer. Usually when you're a new trainer at a place like Equinox, you don't have that many new clients. But I had consistent clients that came to me all the time. And I remember I hit one of the top marks for one of the months for being a new trainer. I hit one of the top marks for having a certain amount of sessions, and it felt great, and I was doing great, and I really did like it. I truly did. And then there kind of got to a point where I realized, I mean, the whole entire time I realized that the spiritual workings that I was doing, the initiations that I had entered myself into, were manifesting throughout the job. So I was seeing tons of signs, I was seeing tons of correlations, I was learning so much. Excuse me. I was learning so much. And then a part of the spiritual initiation had a lot to do with warfare. It had a lot to do with aggression. It had a lot to do with fighting against like ideas, like you're right, I'm wrong, like who do you think you are, kind of thing. And that energy started influencing me very heavily. And not only me, but it influenced one of the guys that was one of the fitness managers that I worked with. And he started to get jealous of me because I was doing so good. And, you know, right off the bat, it was strange because you could tell he was jealous of me the day I was there. Like he was trying to like flex his ego. And the first words that came out of his mouth when I sat and I talked to him was, this is literally the first words. And he's a big guy. He is definitely a warrior. I respect him. But this is just honest truth. The first words that came out of his mouth were, "You're not going to be better than me." Like literally, the first time I met him, and he wasn't the top fitness manager. The top was this girl named Danielle, and she was cool. She was really cool. But he was like, "You're not going to be better than me," and then he kind of laughed it off like it was a joke, but he wasn't joking. And I ended up doing very well. And I always, you know, I did. His energy wasn't meshing with mine, so I would just, you know, if he tried to father me, like treat me like I'm his son, or if he tried to treat me like not in the way that's like he wants the best for me, but in a way that's like, I'm older than you, I'm wiser than you, don't try and go above me. That's how it was. It wasn't like taking me under his wing and guiding me. It was for a little bit, but then he kind of like shifted on me. So I started like drawing boundaries from him, and I started like, you know, kind of expressing like, hey man, like, you know, fuck off kind of ideas. Like you're telling me to do stuff that doesn't make sense. Okay, like chill out. So long story short, he started to get jealous. And I remember specifically there was a time where, you know, he was just giving me so much pushback, and I just did, you know, I did some spiritual workings to repel him, and it worked, like intensely. It worked. Let's just leave it at that. It worked. And he, you know, he essentially lost the battle. Like he was done. He was drained of all his energy. He couldn't come against me anymore, and I was continuing to thrive. But then what ended up starting to happen was I started to realize that I felt like, and it was a weird thing, I started to intuitively feel like I was learning as I had capped off of my learning in that job. I started to gain this intuitive awareness that I need to go to a different job. Like I feel like I literally have capped off everything here, and I got this intuitive feeling about 5 months in of working there. So I felt that, and then shortly after, you know, that we got, like, there was a new head manager And he started, the guy that I had the issues with started making up all these meetings out of nowhere. He started setting up all these meetings, and every single time I would go to these meetings, he was late. He would always be late, and he would show up and he would be like, oh, here's a paper. So I have to go out of my day, out of all the days, the days where I'm training, I'm doing all this work, all this stuff is going on, and now I have to go out of my day, like during my personal time, to show up to this meeting, and you're just going to hand me a paper, and you're going to be late. So there was one meeting that he set up, and I didn't end up going to it because my mom was in town, and I spent time with her instead. And it was actually kind of crazy because I intended on going to the meeting, but then when the last second when it happened, I completely forgot about it. Like, I remember I had it in my alarm and everything, so I missed it, and it happened for a reason. And what ended up happening is, they got new management. There was a new head of Equinox that had literally come in. The old guy left, so she didn't know anybody. So he went to her, and he told her that I don't show up to meetings and that I'm late because he already kind of has something against me. He doesn't like me. He's jealous of me. It's true envy that he has for me. So then he went to her, and he kind of made up this story like, oh, he's not doing what he's supposed to. He didn't show up to the meeting, all this stuff. And then they called me in, and then they ended up letting me go. But I remember the moment that they let me go, it was the strangest thing. It was really the strangest thing, because when they said it, usually I fight for what I believe in. So I would have been like, what? That makes no sense. And I would have stood up. I would have been like, he's late to his meetings. He hands us a half-ass paper, doesn't even explain it. Like, I would have defended myself, and usually that would have worked out. But something in that exact moment, like, very clearly let me know, you're supposed to leave. You're not supposed to be here anymore. Like, you have there's another experience that you need to go into that is directly correlated to the Clipothic initiation that you did at the beginning of the year. Do not hold on to this job anymore. Go with the change. This is all happening because you're supposed to leave. Literally, very clearly, this happened. So when they said it, I was like, okay. And I left on good terms with them. And it was very like, hey, okay, I understand. I think there's a different part of my path that I need to walk down. And I had good relationships with a lot of the customers, or a lot of the people that the gym members. I had a good relationship with a lot of them. So it was kind of tough leaving. I liked being there. It was a great atmosphere, all those things, but I knew my path was changing, and then it did. And then I ended up getting a job at another place very shortly after. But actually, while I was jobless, that is the craziest part, because that is when I built my YouTube channel. That is when I formed everything that has to do with my YouTube channel. Okay, that's when I started, customizing everything about it. That's when I started focusing on it. That's when I realized how to upload videos. I realized the process that I needed to take to upload videos. And I wouldn't have had time, or I wouldn't have done that if I was still working at that job, because that job consumed most of my time. So I had a month off to literally, I would go to the library, I would upload videos using their Wi-Fi, I would watch videos on YouTube of how to upload videos properly, I would look up how to do thumbnails, I would look up how to become a successful YouTuber, all of these things, and that's where I gained a large portion of my knowledge. And then I started actively taking YouTube serious, when beforehand I wasn't doing that. So that was part of the process. And once again, if that didn't happen, then I wouldn't be here right now making this video. So, I'm glad that it happened. And then I ended up getting another job, and after that month of me forming my YouTube channel, and that was where the seed was planted. And that job was crazy. Okay, that job was absolutely crazy. I'm not going to go into detail with it. It was a job where I was head chef. Okay, I was one of the head chefs in a restaurant of a guy who's essentially famous. It's called the Pink Teacup. And it's not like the 5-star food, but it's like, it's like chicken, waffles, and they do buffets. So we have to cook a lot of food. It was one of the most stressful things I've ever done. And then I was working with this girl that was literally one of the most she was literally one of the hardest people I've ever worked with in my entire life, because she just gave so much resistance, gave so much pushback. But it was directly, this is the whole time this is all going on, where, you know, I'm working this job, I'm jobless, I'm getting this new job. It's all correlating to that clipothic initiation. So every sphere on that tree is attributed to a certain life experience that you're gonna have. So this was a correlation of Golachab, where there is conflict, and it is known to be the sphere of some of the most dangerous conflict. And I almost got in fights. It's just crazy. And then after, I ended up leaving that job after a month, left on good terms. I gave him a heads up. He was like, yeah, man, get the hell out of here. Like, you're a hard worker, you're good at what you do, but I don't want to see you like in this environment much longer, because, you know, you've got bigger things to do. He literally said that to me. Not word for word, but in the context, that was what he was saying. So I ended up leaving that job. I got a new job, and then that new job I climbed very fast. I went to manage. It's a whole crazy experience. But once again, to file down on the point, you may very well lose a job that you're comfortable with, working with spirits, doing deep spiritual transformation, working on yourself. But you have to understand that whatever job it is that is coming next, even if you don't like it, even if it's not consciously where you want to be, if it doesn't make your ego feel good, you have to realize that there's a reason why that job is presenting itself. And you've got to know what you're willing to do. What are you willing to sacrifice to go into that? Because there may be job opportunities that come up that you're not willing to do. There was for myself. Like, there was an opportunity for me to move to a different state to work a job and make a lot of money. But I didn't want to do that, because then I would have to sacrifice my YouTube channel to do that. And that's not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to sacrifice my YouTube freedom and my channel to make more money. I'm not going to sacrifice anything just to make more money. I'm going to do what I love to do, and that will bring in lots of money. So you got to be aware of that. You got to have that foundational knowledge. But then, you know, then there will be opportunities to go down different, you know, pathways that lead to certain job opportunities that don't sound like the best jobs. It's gonna, you know, it, like, to the average person, they wouldn't think it's that great of a job sometimes. And that may be the exact experience that you need to become a more well-rounded person, and to fully refine your consciousness and gain knowledge about certain things that you didn't previously have knowledge to. And what it will always lead to, it's not that you're going to get that job and then it's going to lead to a dead-end life. There will always be a different experience later down the road. Something else will uncover itself. Okay, for me, I can guarantee you the way it's going to manifest is my YouTube channel is going to start providing for me, so that I won't have to work a 9-to-5 anymore. That's literally how it's going to manifest, and you guys will be able to see that happen with me. So that was the point. You may, like, when you start doing deep spiritual work, you can't hold on to anything. You can't be too attached to anything, because things can be completely ripped from you, because you may not be aware of what it is that you need to transform. But you shouldn't be worried about that. You should be focused on how you can become your best self, because as you do that, you transform everything around you, and then eventually, within time, consistency, you will be tested. You will see what is lying on the other side of all of that pain, all of that sacrifice, and there will be immaculate states of euphoria, satisfaction, understanding, clarity, material things exactly the way that you want them. But you have to work for it. Other than that, guys, I'm going to leave it here. Definitely make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and check out the Patreon for an exclusive video weekly. There's already a good amount of exclusive videos that are already on there. Where it's going to be located is at the top of the description. It is the first link. Okay, so definitely make sure you check that out. Then go to the link below that. That's going to take you to the Streamlabs merch, where you can place your order for a Hecate sigil shirt that they will literally ship right to your door. Then you go to the third link below. That's going to take you to the Facebook community. That's going to take you to a pin post on the Facebook community page. You click the pin post, it's going to take you to a private group. Request to join that, I'll add you in. So other than that, guys, that's going to wrap it up. I will see you on the next video. So I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and peace.